Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm in your town, I'm coming your way, just wait up. Me and my team ain't taking no L's.
What's up YouTube and fellow red teamers? Welcome to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is David and I'm a full-time red teamer. So let's go to the basics. Pen testing is not the same as red teaming. When you're actually doing pen testing, you're doing everything from behind a computer. When you're actually red teaming, you add the social engineering element and the physical security element on top of that. And when you have all three combined, that's when it becomes red teaming. I'll go more in depth on that, but that's gonna be for a further video. So as of today, we're gonna be talking about a reconnaissance with cameras for physical security. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that you have a client that they hired you for you to compromise them, right? It could be either hacking them or breaking into the building or performing social engineering, whichever of the three. Turns out that your client has no public IP. They have nothing internet facing open that you can actually port scan or attack or compromise to the internet. But they gave you a scope of 3 months for you to compromise them. So how do you actually compromise them, right? That's where red teaming comes in. You're going to be utilizing cameras for you to gather as much information as possible from your client before actually performing the engagement of getting in. For you to perform reconnaissance, there's a couple of cameras that we're going to be using. So the first one that I would recommend using is a drone. I personally use a DJI, and you don't have to use a DJI. It can be any other brand. There's hundreds out there. But the purpose of using a drone is because you can actually, if it's a remote facility, you can actually map out the facility itself. Like you can see what the gates look like. If there's walking guards on prem, you can spot out entry or exit points from the building, windows, and that sort of information. So the next camera that we're going to be talking about is the DSLRs. The main reason why I recommend them is because they actually have the optical zoom. When you do an optical zoom, it's kind of like a telescope because you have a lens above a lens above a lens. So you actually get that really nice zoom in without the compromise of pixels and loss in quality. Nowadays, cell phones do have pretty good cameras, but still, regardless, when you actually zoom in, it comes to a point they actually start getting loss of quality, and it's because they use a digital zoom. So with the optical zoom of the DSLR, you can map out what the employee uniforms look like. You can map out if they're utilizing badges, if they have access control. You can map out where the camera's located on-prem. That way you can actually avoid them, or if you're going to bypass them for with some method. So yeah, that's what I recommend for the DSLRs. Coffee. Here's a pro tip for the DSLRs as well. When you're actually taking pictures, I do recommend getting a polarized lens, for the reason that, for example, sometimes you're trying to take a picture at a building, let's say, and it has glass on the side, and because of the reflection of the sun, you can't see anything. But to the naked eye, you can't see anything, but when you use a polarized lens, you can actually cut through the building and through the reflection of the light, and you can see what's behind the glass. So the next camera that I recommend using is a body cam. An action cam worn as a body cam is a great camera due to the fact that it gives you the ability for you to infiltrate or do whatever you're doing without the need of you having to hold the camera at all times. Like for example, if you're lock picking into multiple doors, you can just go on your way, do your lock pick, and forget about holding a camera. Then last but not least, I do recommend obviously carrying a cell phone with a good camera. Nowadays, everybody has the latest and greatest technology with cameras. More coffee. So the camera of the cell phone is great because you can actually use it once you are inside of the premises of where you're supposed to get into. You can actually use it to take the pictures of all the evidence of you infiltrating your client's buildings. And then those pictures are actually the ones that can go on the report. Another thing that I do recommend getting is this book. This book can actually teach you, if you're not really a professional photographer, it will teach you the basics of aperture, lights, ISO, and that kind of settings for when you're performing covert photography. Further down the road, we will be seeing this a little bit more in detail for each. As of for today, it's just a basic 101 reconnaissance for red teamers. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.
Just wait up. Me and my team ain't taking no L's. I told them you don't